goodness, it is a very, very special episode, as if not every episode is not Soup's special. It's a very episode of Because Cannabis and Dustin Kava. Do you know why it is a very special episode of Because Cannabis?
Why? No, I don't.
Because it's the very first, you know why. It's the very, you read the show notes that no one typed up before we went live. It's the very first show of the year 2023. We've been doing this show for almost 1 year, Dustin Kava. Because Cannabis, produced by Wayward Media, debuted on February 4th, 2022 on the YouTubes, on the interweb. Wow. That's right. You can subscribe to us at YouTube, at Because Cannabis on YouTube. That's what we're looking for, at Because Cannabis on YouTube. Subscribe. Or if you're watching right now, just click that button. February 4th, 2022. This is basically, because it is kind of a new year, it's a new show. It's just me and you. Just like we started, Dustin Kava, just like we started on February 4th, 2022, me and you sitting in the studio-ish alone talking about cannabis, I guess. How you feeling almost a year in? Episode number 49 we sit at.
Yeah, you know what? I had very little goals starting on for this thing. You know what? The biggest thing for it was consistency. I needed, after selling the company, I needed consistency in my week. And so having something like this to do every week and to get that same, I miss conversations, I miss the community. And this show really got to bring a lot of that back to me this year. And so for that, I'm forever grateful. I didn't have very high hopes, but it did exactly what it needed to do when it needed to do it.
Not exactly a strong selling point there. I didn't have high hopes. I don't know. I felt pretty excited and jazzed up. We are actually going to watch, Dustin, in about 20 minutes from now. Make sure you are still watching, or if not, check on back in about 20 minutes from now. We're going to watch the live recordings, or not live. We're going to watch on YouTube some of our very first episodes and see how we did. By the way, this show is obviously available on audio. It's available on audio, whether you're listening to it on iTunes, Google Play, wherever you're listening to it, you can follow us. New shows come about 2 weeks after our live shows, which normally used to debut every Friday at 4:20 p.m., but we're going to switch up the date in 2023, Dustin Kava. This will be the very first one that debuts at our new time slot, Wednesdays, 4:20 p.m. We're still going to keep the same time. We know how you roll. We want to be consistent for you. So it's still at 4:20 p.m., but the new shows every week on YouTube, which if you subscribe, you'll get the notification of who the next guest is going to be. If you subscribe, you'll know that Wednesdays at 4:20 is when new shows will debut. It's a new year, Dustin. We're kicking things off. I know, I got to think you're a bit like, hippie-ish kind of inside. Like, do you have that kind of, I guess, symbolism of turning the page, turning the year? Do you believe that you start things, endeavors better on the 1st of a month than, say, the 28th of a month because it's a symbolic date of newness? Are you down with that whole way of thinking, that whole mentality of sorts?
No, absolutely not. I think that if you have already used the word try when you are thinking about a goal, you've already failed. It's not something that's actually going to happen. It's like, if I ask my son to clean his bedroom and he goes, "Dad, I'll try." Really, that's just him saying, "I'm not going to fucking do it." Like there's any other excuse that's going to happen in the meantime and that I will use. And so just by, I think when you remove the word try and you remove all these other petty barriers of like the 1st needs to be, or the 9th needs, I stop those barriers, start focusing on what really matters, and kind of help yourself move on. Truly, consistency is the thing that makes you move on, not what day you start, not, it's the consistency of it.
I got to tell you, I do appreciate the consistency because I will be honest, there's probably more than a few times during the course of this broadcast that I did not want to do the show. I didn't want to do it. And then all of a sudden you looked at me or you texted me and you're like, we have to make this show happen. Despite how much I wanted to cancel, I knew we had to. But I have to tell you, if I'm going to be really honest, I'm probably more the opposite of the way you think then. I am someone who really needs that time change, that date, that significant milestone. Like I like to put that out there because I feel like when I do, then yes, I can start something new. I feel like when I say I'm going to make this happen starting on this date in the one, right? The one, whether it's the month of January 1 or whether it's the first of the month 1, whether it's the start of a day 1, like the one signifies something that is just, I mean, obviously it's like winter, like winter, like number 1, but I don't know. There's something about the page turn and when it starts a thing, like it's a 1 that makes it really important to me. And so I believe that. And I've had pretty good luck starting things off on a new time frame or starting things off on a new schedule because it's a date change, because of the significance symbolically or created by Hallmark. I don't give a shit. Whoever puts it out there, like I am down with that. I'm okay with that.
Whenever I hear anybody talk about the one, all I can think about is James Brown and the funk always starts on the 1, so I'm like, okay, that makes sense. BC's funk always starts on the 1.
My
and I get that.
I
can get that.
If 1s are the way to get out of a funk, like sometimes I get into a funk and it will be like the end of a month or the end of a year, I guess. And I'm saying, you know what? The funk is about to start, right? So sometimes it's getting out of a funk. What I need, Dustin Kava, you just put it in my head exactly what needs to happen. We don't need to get out of a funk. We need to get in a funk. We need to feel the funk. We need to embody the funk. We need to have the funk like inside of you. I need, Dustin Kava needs, every single person who follows us at MeetWM, whether Instagram or Facebook, you need the funk. We want to feel the funk. Maybe that should be our goal. Maybe one of our resolutions, Dustin Kava, for 2023 is to bring the funk to cannabis. Like bring the funk to cannabis. I feel like we should put that as a tagline. We should trademark that shit right now. We are bringing the funk in 2023 to cannabis. Write it down. Google it, something like that. Bring in the funk in 2023. It's a year of resolutions. It's a time you like that. We're going to bring the funk. You feeling funky, sir?
I am feeling funky, and I'm actually feeling real funky for this year. This is a total different set of year goals, and it's not just consistency this year. This year, we're going to kick some fucking ass.
I think so. I'm excited for what 2023 has to bring. So let's talk about that. Let's talk a little bit about some of our resolutions, and then in a little bit here, we'll recap some of where we've been. So first of all, resolutions in general. Have you someone historically who has made a resolution and had it come true? Have you ever set something into action? It's late December. You're feeling in a funk, but as we realize, you're not in a funk. You're in the doldrums. We're racing the doldrums and we're getting into the funk. We're feeling the funk. We're embodying the funkiness of it all. Have you ever sat in December and said, you know what, I'm going to do something? Like you're making plans, you're putting fingers on keyboards, you're writing notes furiously, your beard's just dipped in eggnog, and you're like, I have some new things that I'm about to start in 2023 or whatever year it was about to be, past years. Have you had a resolution that you made that you kept and has maybe impacted your life or just for a little bit? Have you made a resolution and actually had that shit work out, Dustin Kava?
I'm such a failure at setting small goals. So I don't know, the shit that I like doing, the shit that I think about, the shit that I work for, it's huge. It's nothing that takes 1 year, 1 month. Everything I do is like up 3 years. This is where this is going to be 5 years, 10 years. And so I just don't think in that way. I also don't like this idea of disappointing myself off of certain things. I think, if I tell myself, I'm the type of guy who, if I say, I'm not going to drink Monsters anymore, I need that one Monster in the fridge that I can just look at and be like, I don't want you, punk. I think if I quit smoking cigarettes, it was like, I needed that one cigarette left or that pack hidden away in a shelf to know it's there, but I don't need it, but I don't want it, but it's there. And the second something's not there, I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do? I need to do this. So I don't know. There's a part of me that's like, I set myself up for failure the more I think in those terms, and I don't like failure. So I'm not the type of guy. I want that. I want to actually set out to accomplish whatever goal I set.
Once again, well, see, it makes sense though. It makes sense that you wouldn't really rely on resolutions. I'm putting that in giant air quotes. If you're listening on audio right now, rely on our resolutions. But if you're not one who is into that whole vibe, it makes sense that you don't really think of those terms. I've had one really, I think, successful one in December of 2015. I've talked about this on the show before, but in December of 15, I wasn't my best shape. I wasn't my best person. I made a resolution in January of 2016, and that kind of worked out. I made a resolution to change my life, to be healthier, to eat better. And that worked out really well for a really long time. And so I was pretty happy with that. That worked out. But through time, through COVID, through those things, it has regressed a little bit. So I'm excited. I think I'm going to try and put forward in 2023, right? Like a new resolution. In fact, I'm going to go, Dustin Kava. I'm going to go something Zoe Wilder. Shout out to Zoe Wilder. She is a friend of the show there, been able to help us with some of our past guests, and have been excited to see Zoe Wilder. You can follow her on Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. She introduced me to a term called Cali Sober. Cali Sober. This wasn't something I knew about or was familiar with at all, Dustin. But let me ask you this: do you know what Cali Sober means?
Oh my gosh, I did a day ago. I cannot remember. I feel like
so truer things because cannabis have never been said. I did a day ago. Why do you forget that? Because cannabis, duh, it's in the name. It's right there above your head. So Cali Sober, Dustin Kava, is basically you're okay with weed, just don't drink booze. Right. So I have been vibing. We've had a couple people on the show, actually, some past shows who have talked about, trying to drink less. And I enjoy it. I like it. In this past holiday season, I have imbibed what I would think now like a little too much, right? Like a little much. I'm feeling a little guilty, a little bad about it. So I'm going to quit drinking alcohol. That's my goal 2 days in. Well, I didn't count yesterday. So, we're a couple days in. We'll see. We'll check back on the show and see how my Cali Sober going. But from this point forward, from the moment that you, the listener, who have either subscribed on YouTube or followed us on Meet WM socially or listening on audio and clicked follow, you, the listener right now, we're going to follow. That's something to check in. Let me know in the comments if you are doing it. Let us know if you are trying some sort of dry January. That's something else that I saw talked about. If you're doing that, leave a note in the comments. I'm down to see if you guys are trying as well. Try and do it together. Give us a fist bump. Try and keep it strong. So that's one of my resolutions, I guess, on a personal level. But as you and I have been talking, Dustin, we're hoping to have some more, I guess, things happen on a professional level for Because Cannabis. I'm excited to, and we've had some good feedback to bring this brand, to bring this lifestyle, because I think that's what this is. I think Because Cannabis, well, it's a podcast. Well, what we talk about here is important. And we've learned from so many amazing guests is that the reason they do what they do is the title of the show. It's Because Cannabis. It's the reason they're involved, whether it's medicinally, whether it's financially. And so I think we want to continue to think about this as a brand. So I'm excited with what we are going to be launching here. I hope sooner than later, but bringing forth more ideas in such, more connections, more collaborations in such. And so I'm excited to do some of those things. In fact, actually, if you're looking on screen right now, if you're on YouTube, if you're watching us, you'll see a link. Right. We've always had the great website, Wayward Media. Wayward.media produces the show. But Dustin, on screen right now, we have a brand new thing, Wayward.media/giveaway. I mean, come on. Tell us about it.
Yeah, you know what? This one's a fun one because this one brings something that I love so much, which is another brand, and having like a little bit of collaboration with Wayward Media is exactly kind of what it's always been about. So in the case of the giveaway, we have teamed up with Licit Glass to give away up to 3 packages. One is designed for retail shops. So the details on that's going to be coming out soon. And then the other 2 packages that are possible are going to be for more of the retail customers. And so I don't know, man, I'm super stoked about this because there's a couple things that have not been seen before that are quite possibly part of the package. And it's just going to be really neat to kind of see this thing through and continue to work with Licit, who we really love, Gibby and all the other guys from the
Yeah, Gibby, Lissa Glass, one of our early guests. Gibby's been on a couple of times. One of the very few repeat guests from Because Cannabis, which is interesting. So Gibby, obviously Lissa Glass, some of the best American-made glass in the country. Any of you don't like them, you know that they're made in America. You know that they're artists working to make their craft. So really, and just even on top of that, Gibby, not just his glass, but being a big supporter of the glass industry, glass artists' rights, right? That's another big thing. Like not just the industry itself, but supporting other glass artists. And Licit Glass, Licit, Licit Glass. You can see at the bottom of the screen if you're watching on YouTube, licitglass.com. Great place to get your American-made glass. And obviously, we got some stuff we'll be working on with Wayward Media. Licit Live pops up every now and then on our channel. You can see some great interviews that Gibby has done in different shops, learning from people that he's connecting with, maybe even on a business-to-business level. So that's www.wayward.media/giveaway, wayward.media/giveaway. Details available now. You can check it out. Wayward Media, wayward.media/giveaway. So our first kind of giveaway there, got some exciting things going on. Hopefully get to know more about you, get to know more about us. And that's something else, Dustin, we'll talk about this now, something else we're doing. We wanted to do kind of a behind the scenes, you in particular, and ask me anything. Like anything at all. So Dustin Kava has agreed to put up his time on January 27th. Make sure you follow us at MeetWM for exact time and ways that you can interact and be involved with the Ask Me Anything. We're going to do a live Ask Me Anything with Dustin Kava on January 27th. I don't think I'm going to do this, Dustin, because I got shit I don't really want to share with people. I'm a very produced and manicured personnel online, right? When I come on here, this is a B.C. Wehman. There's Brian Christopher Wehman. There's all sorts of versions of me out there. But you, Dustin Kava, said, fuck it. Ask me anything.
Yeah. You know what? I think we talk about business all the time. And we talk about this idea of once you have, say, something like a retail shop or a place that opens at a certain time for a phone to ring, for someone to walk through that door, you are then opening yourself up to conversations in which you just never dreamed the day going towards. And so it's one of the most profound, it's one of the things that has had the most profound effect on me not having with the show. And so, to have that little bit of curiosity and mysteriousness about what could come, who can walk through that door and ask what to make me think over the next weeks or months, it's powerful. And I'm really, really looking forward to connecting with a lot of the customers and such that just have not had the chance to walk through my door the last 12 months. And so I'm really, really stoked, and I'm not worried at all. I'm ready to fucking answer.
I think you're going to do fine. No, like you have you don't really get caught off guard. So you always have something to say, and probably doing something like this, like being forced to talk every week about stuff or talk to random strangers about various information is helpful in doing that. So I think you'll be fine. I think if you go to our Ask Me Anything on January 27th, if you go to Instagram, follow us at MeetWM. Once again, that's where all the details will be. It's also on Facebook, on Twitter, LinkedIn. On their LinkedIn at Because Cannabis. That's where you can find us on LinkedIn. The podcast is at Because Cannabis, or follow myself, B.C. Wehman, or Dustin Kava, both of us on LinkedIn and such. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the show, what happens when people get to know the real you, to get to know those real details. It's funny because as you start kind of going through, you have this passion, right? And that's one of the things you wanted to bring out in 2023. You want more passion. And it's kind of, I don't know if it's kind of how we started the show, but it is kind of one of our initial like guiding posts in the future, like one of these mile markers that we wanted to make sure we hit along the way. Because we got started and we've told our story before. So we'll give you the quick recap. I met Dustin at Inhalables at the smoke shop he ran in Brunswick, Ohio. Met him. Fascinating character. We kind of connected. But then eventually, and I started teaching classes at the Cleveland School of Cannabis. We wanted to do something. I wanted to do this project where we brought these students, made like investment pitches, kind of like as a group project. And I needed someone to kind of hear their feedback. And you triggered in my brain, like, hey, it might be something interesting. When you first got that, right? And we'll talk a little bit about what we've done in there leading into the show. When we first sent you that thing, and that's really how Because Cannabis started. Before Wayward Media, before that, really it was me and you kind of cordially interacting as a customer, like sales you behind the counter, me just buying shit from you at the smoke shop, like those kind of relationships and chatting or whatever. And I had met Andrew and Anthony separately, these other fellows that our lives are all interconnected. Check out all the past episodes to get some of the sword history there. Follow Anthony Trevelyanti as well. You can get some of his great stuff, Trev Media Group. So when I first kind of said, hey, I need you to kind of be this judge. It's going to be like Shark Tank and get feedback from students. We didn't really know each other as well as we do now. What was your initial reaction to kind of my pitch of listen to these people do their business pitches and give them your feedback with no really feedback from me? Because I was just making it up as I went along.
You know what? It felt natural because it felt like that's what I had been doing at Inhalables for all these years. It was amazing how many people came to me with business dreams throughout a week and just wanted to know, how the heck do you jump off the cliff? What's the first things? And so when you offered that, I took it really seriously. And I have to laugh because I definitely took it too seriously that first class. And in a lot of ways, like, I don't think the students were ready for me to kind of be as hard and honest and forward about certain things. And I think in general, it just was it was funny, but I don't know how many we had so far since today, but I think I've now got to see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of your students. And it's so amazing, the progression of thought within the industry as they see other companies pioneering new techniques and new technologies and how they're kind of thinking through the processes. It's just, the industry is a whole different place coming 3 or 4 years later. And the Dank Tank is like this boots on the ground, hands in the soil, like very early screenshot every couple months of what the industry's thought process is. And it's awesome. It's so cool. It really is.
That's exciting that you kind of really latched on. I agree. I don't want to say too harsh, but there have been moments. There have been moments where I may have texted you and I'm like, hey man, like lay off. Or here's something else I've noticed, Dustin. You tend to, and probably because you self-correct as your brain processes information, you tend to start very, not harshly, but just honestly, start very honestly, very direct. And as we go through the course of, say, a whole session, you do get a little nicer and lighter in your comments. Sometimes it's time permitting. And I'm like, hey, we got to hurry back up because you get really talkative, as we all do. But then it becomes like, oh, maybe you sign a self-correct and you're like, oh my God, it was so hard. And then I feel bad sometimes for the first couple people. Like, God, and sometimes they've been amazing ones. And I was like, man, if you would have known what was coming in 4, you'd have been way nicer to number 1 because 4 was not as good.
Yeah, it's true. But you know what? I think every business that I ever started, somebody said it was shit in the very beginning. And it's not that it's shit. It's that you need this perspective of, what do I really need when I make the jump off the cliff? Do I really need all of this vision right now, this very moment, before I even unlock that door or even start to begin with? And I think the more and more that people kind of envision startups and their own personal companies in that way, the harder it is to get through those first 3 to 5 years. And so I also found this amazing aspect of building a business with your customers. Like, it's not perfect right off the rip, but every single month or every 3 months, the customers got to see a progression of thought or a progression of vision. And it helped instill in certain capacities a personal like touch to the store. It gave them this sense of loyalty and this sense of, I'm helping build this vision to be something bigger. And it allowed me to connect at a much deeper level with the customers. And so if we could just kind of say, like, you don't need all bullshit. What you really need is these major things, these 3 basic things, and just some consistency, and go for it. Like, you are worth it. This is worth it. You're right. I don't know. It's just hard sometimes to get them to see that they don't necessarily need it all right off the rip.
And it's hard because that's where they're all thinking, right? And I think that's the whole point of the class. By the way, we'll put a link to the Cleveland School of Cannabis, csceeducation.com. Great kind of class or introduction to business, which ends in the Dank Tank. I kind of cribbed that off Shark Tank, but ends in that kind of scenario where they pitch this company. And I think it's been really amazing to see what people envision in their head and then see what kind of how they can put it on paper, so to speak. We make them use PowerPoints, kind of present that image, and then get that feedback of, well, I know where you're thinking. And most people think too big or think on a really oddly specific trait that doesn't really matter as much. So they go through things. But that's what, I mean, I guess that's how things started. That's how collaborations start. That's how any business gets started, is try to put those ideas down, kind of write about it. And it was through those dank tanks, though. It was through kind of talking with the students and hearing your feedback. And, because I've had several people, you've been to a lot of them. There's been a couple, which you haven't been, but you've been to most of them. But even then we'll have other people come in and be guest kind of judges, so to speak. And some of them do really well in responding to how the student presentations are, because they are very much student presentations. And some people struggle with it, right? Some people aren't as able to communicate that or think it's too business-like. And so you had this really amazing way of saying it and continuing to say it and find those words. And so it was that part of that communication that I wondered, man, it'd be really fucking cool is if Dustin and I could keep talking. Like if we could just kind of keep having this conversation. And mind you, by the way, the whole time this is happening, people are starting podcasts, cannabis podcasts, all these other podcasts are happening. But I'm like, gosh, Dustin, if only there was a way that you and I could get together and talk about cool cannabis related business stuff and startups. Like, wouldn't that be so amazing? And it was like, yeah, that'd be amazing. And we kind of went back and forth for like a year. And so this would be kind of during that COVID time, like we did a lot of online classes. And so we're communicating during Zoom. And so now we're at 2021 saying, man, wouldn't it be kind of cool if we could kind of do those things? And then finally, and it must have been in late 21, we kind of started really getting together and putting the old pen to paper, or I guess in the modern era, fingers to keyboards and making some things happen, right? Like they kind of pitched it back and forth. And then we said, maybe we can. But I think it started as something entirely different.
Well, and I mean, I don't think if you realize this or not, but those moments, those last moments when we were brainstorming things within the shop and we were actually there during that time, those were some of the last moments I was actually in the store. And so it was this very sad but exciting, nuanced time where visions of the old, which were not going to continue coming from me, were helping to be shaped into some new visions with, new partners and new passions and new interests. And it was this bittersweet but very powerful moment to take a step back and be like, wow, what we're building today is to allow me to continue to do the things that I absolutely fucking love, which is having these types of conversations. And seriously, I'm not sure, not much besides blockchain gets me off the way the fucking business does. So it's just, I love it. I love it so much. I like hearing the why is amazing, but there's so much within the industry that is the why and then adding capitalism to it. And it's just, as a patient, those whys are a lot easier to understand. This is my medicine. I take this at certain times throughout the day. This is why it helps. But it's amazing to see that passion get applied with something else like monetary value and giving value for something. And it's amazing. I love it. I really, truly love it.
Well, I think it's evident. And I think that's how we kind of started. So we went back and forth. We did these different things. We had conversations. You put some of your skills together that you were able to do there. And let's see here. Let's get to this one. Find my little option. You'd think after 49 shows, I would know how to.
You warned me of this, and I've been cringing the entire episode about it. I don't.
No, let's not cringe yet. Like here, let's do this first. Like, let's check out our first kind of thing that we launched into the universe. This is Wayward.media, and it's gone through a few different changes, and it'll surely see more changes as we continue to grow, because cannabis as a brand, we're going to need your help representing. Got apparel coming soon and more. So be sure to check us out at Wayward Media, Wayward.media for all the updates. So this was kind of our very first launch. put this out there. We got a lot of great things. I was doing the Wayward Planet podcast, a little bit of Wayward Sports. Both of those still exist in the ether. Check them out, as well as Behind the Dock from Evergreen Podcasts. So you put together a nifty little website here, Dustin Kava, one of your skills. Thank you for putting it together. What do you think now, a year later? And I know you've done some touch-ups, but how does the website resonate for you today?
Oh gosh, if websites to me are like artwork or a canvas to a painter, they never see completion in it. It's this thing where, like there are going to be some massively new changes to the way the website works and operates and looks in the next couple of months as we keep working towards some more shows being on the upcoming shows being on here. And it did its job when it needed to, and now it needs a little bit more functionality as we go into the new year. And I'm pretty stoked to kind of continue to see the vision through. This is another one of those things where the subscribers and people who've been with us early on, I like that we've allowed them to see this progression, this window into non-perfection. And I think that's the Wayward style. I think it's this, it's not about how good it looks. It's about how much fun you had while doing it. And that's Wayward right now.
It is. And we should mention, by the way, see this little button right here, sponsor. If you're looking to sponsor the show, we are going to really kick off, I think, in 2023. So if you're looking to sponsor the show, get involved now. Let's get you going, get you set up. So that's where it started. We had this website. I didn't think, we're kind of still working through what we wanted to do. I knew we wanted to get together and talk about cannabis and talk about the business of it and share life lessons and do those things. I know that we are both people who thrive on learning. We're both people who are humble enough. That sounds terrible. I'm telling you how humble I am. I'm so fucking humble, people. So we're so humble that we're willing. That sounds like there's no way out of this. I'm just gonna reboot. We love to learn. Like, we both enjoy that process. We're confident enough to not say we know it all because we're so humble. And so we are willing to learn. And so part of that was, hey, who can we learn from? Who can we talk to? Who can we gain knowledge from? And we knew several people because of our different journeys in cannabis. And so we knew, and we had some experience. You had met tons of different customers. I'd been talking to people already on podcasts. So those kind of interview skills felt very comfortable. And it was just combining those things. And so we decided, we didn't know exactly what Wayward Media was going to be. We didn't know what it was going to do. The goal initially was to help produce podcasts of Wayward Planet, Wayward Sports, which we hope to resurrect. I hope to resurrect those.
Which I actually
someday.
I love.
We get some sponsors
that, man.
that I can bring back.
I don't think you recognize how great the Wayward Planet shows were. I loved them. I probably listened to, 35, 40 out of the 85 or 100 that you had on there. And I loved them. The people, it honestly inspired me. And I think that's what got me jazzed to do the show more than anything, was actually you. And again, like, you opened up that opportunity of, holy smokes, the amount of conversations that can be had in these realms, in these small niche areas of talk, are pretty substantial. And you had a lot of incredible guests over. But you can still check out off the website. Yeah,
it's on there. It's on Wayward.media. You can find some of those past episodes. They're all audio only. We didn't have any video components back then. I think there's a couple that were recorded in video, but none of those have ever seen the light of day, nor will they. But the audio is still out there. I actually have probably 3 or 4 Wayward Planets that never, I don't know, maybe I'll just have to bulk. They never got aired. I have one with the guy that invented the hydro flask. Like, we had it in pod. He never, I don't know why. I just realized the other day, never just loaded it up, never started it. I'm hoping to be honest with you, I think a lot, my passion, I love disc golf. Obviously, all these stupid Frisbees behind me. I love getting into sports way more than you. I do all these sport analogies and you're like shrug emojiing me all the time. So I'm hoping to, if I had to bring something back, to be honest with you, I would love, as soon as I get that sponsor, as soon as you subscribe, but we get enough subscribers, we get someone to help, end the day jobs people. I would love to do Wayward Sports literally every Monday through Friday. I would do like a 9 a.m. show, like every hour, like produce little tidbits. I'll just, that Pat McAfee dude, that punter from the Colts, can just ramble on for 3 hours. I can do that shit as well. Standing up, I'll wear a tank top, whatever it takes. But I would like to do that as well, to bring those things back. But so the goal was to do that, to produce these other shows and at some point we realized, hey, we needed some more content. I think we just needed content. I think that's the main reason we wanted to do that. So it must have been in January of 2022, if our first episode debuted in February 4th of 2022. It must have been sometime in January that we decided to get together. We went back and forth on a couple different versions, and we decided to get together and talk for an hour. We had no guests. We had nothing. And this podcast was born. So I thought it'd be fun, Dustin, to kind of close out our recap and resolution show. We got some great guests. By the way, thanks to some amazing guests, and we'll talk about some of these before we end today. We have some amazing guests coming up to kick off this year. So I am super excited. Thank you for hanging with us so far today. Today's just been kind of a fun recap the year, kind of kick off, since we really are coming up on our 1 year anniversary, and it feels like a time to celebrate. 49 straight weeks. 49 straight weeks on Friday, a Because Cannabis episode debuted on 420. Come hell or bong water, it was always there. And now Wednesdays at 4:20 p.m. Don't forget Wednesdays at 4:20 p.m. the new date that they'll be hitting on YouTube. We'll be posting all about our socials at Meet WM. You'll be seeing it all up in there. We decided, we got together. We had no guests initially. We just had a great conversation with Lulu there and Lauren, and of course, Andrew D'Angelo and the guys from My Flora. We'll talk about them. I want to get some of your favorites, but we decided to get together. We've talked a lot, and you'll have to visit some of those early episodes if you want to hear about our branding, reasons we settled on our colors, reason we settled on the fonts, the silly decision, which I still love, but sometimes I hate, to doing a 2, which has upgraded to 3-word alliteration, right? Lowercase alliteration. Lowercase is so 2016, but we're all about it here. So lowercase alliteration. Let's just, and we're going to, in just a minute, we're going to hit play on Life and Leaf, episode number 1 of Because Cannabis. So just taking a look at the early thumbnails, Dustin, because they've changed a lot. Like if you go up and take a look at some of the thumbnails, you can see, we talk about progression. If you go through this page, you can kind of see the different progressions. You can tell when we took new photos. You can see all the things that are on there. Looking at some of this early thumbnails. What's your vibe? Like, give me some critiques, Dustin. Pretend we're in a dank tank and someone's pitching you a thumbnail creation company. And they're like, here's my thumbnails. Look at those first few weeks. We got Life and Leaf, Sports and Stoners, Crypto and Cannabis, which was a first guest, by the way, with Dan from Lemur Genomics.
Genomics. Yeah.
Genomics, thank you. Buds and Burrow, which we had our second guest, Libby. So Sooners and Sweets, Names and Numbers, and then into Kelly, which kicked off a string of guests. So look at those early thumbnails. How you feeling about them?
Oh gosh, they're awful, but they're ridiculous is really what the word is. They are, especially, I love the ones when we had the clip art in there. It's so
Sports and Stoners may still be the best ever. You twirling we talked disc golf. We must have talked basketball. So you twirling a Frisbee and you twirling a basketball on there. I think my favorite might be Names and Numbers, because it looks like you're putting me on a Sesame Street spell. Like you're pointing double fingers and you've taken me and you've given me all these numbers like around my head. And if you're watching on YouTube, clearly you're seeing, we're sharing screen now. If you're listening to audio, go check out.
Where's the petroleum one? Where's petroleum?
Well, so you evolved here. You can see there. You can still see we have some great ones on screen here. If we're taking a look at some of our thumbnails, a lot of great guests on there. Ty Glover, Dr. Bridget Williams, we love her. Looking to hear more from her. T-Dog, that was a personal favorite interview for reasons we can't discuss on the air. Lots of great ones here. Big Business, Bad Banking. I feel like that's one you just said, fuck it, we got to get a thumbnail out. You're like, I'm flipping us, putting the void between us, done. Right?
Yeah, no, I love it, man. I honestly, the guest thumbnails is what gave me the most creative and actually what pushed a lot of the new visuals that are going on for the social stuff. And I love that. I think that's exactly how it should be. In certain regards, I'm still going to cringe every time I go back and look at it. And there is a part of me that wants to go back and re-upload new images, but it'll never happen. They're kind of a good
you gotta let go. You gotta let go of trying to go back. And anyone, good advice here. Like we talk about this, if you are into any sort of content creation, or even if you're into marketing, unless you've made a big boo-boo there, like once you've made your thing, move on to the next thing, right? Think Jerry Siegel, think the inventor of Superman, sold the rights cheap, thought they invented another comic book, both died penniless. Superman's the biggest hero on the planet, right? Create the next thing. go forth, right? And I'm glad, Dustin, that you don't spend any time going back, because you don't need to, because no one's going through that. We're all about what's next. And really, you started to, as we evolved, really work into it. And now you can see. And a lot of it was having all these different guests in a row. You can kind of feel the theme. We got some solo shows. We hadn't had any in a while with some different pictures. And so these are some of my favorite smells and scares, hybrids and heroes, insight and inclusion. Hybrids and heroes might be one of my favorite. You really got creative. Now you were all in on embracing. By the time we get to episode 30, 31, 29, 28, like you're embracing who we are, kind of our personalities, and playing it up with the kind of individual without guess ones.
Yeah, you know what? It did. It became personal. And even with the guest, like the guest, it's this one thing where we're not the showcase. We're not the front and center. Our opinions don't even really fucking matter. And yet they pushed the thumbnails of just me and you a bit. And so I don't know, man, it's been an awesome progression. I enjoy making them now. It's kind of a laugh to me in a lot of ways. I get to see, especially with the ones that are just me and you, I don't have to worry about a fee, because I know that, like, you don't give a fuck.
No, right. We're going to make it work. I'm excited to see what you come up for recap and resolutions because Cannabis episode 49, our first Wednesday episode, our first episode of 2023. Don't forget, you can go to wayward.media/giveaway right now. We're going to be doing our first giveaway collab with Licit Glass. You can also visit on January 27th, we're going to have an Ask Me Anything. Visit social media, Meet WM, at Meet WM at all your social medias to find us out. And then we get into a string of great guests. Taras Batiste, one of the second best opening, I think, in the history of the show because of his oversleeping an interview. I think we even cut that up into a little clip on social media. One of my favorite moments of the show, because he wrote a book, Don't Let It Smoke You, and then he got controlled by cannabis the night before. Patrick Grenier from Pre-Rollers, one of a hilarious, man. He turned out to be surprisingly fun interview. Carrie Yeager, Formulations of Flavors, probably the best opening ever because she was smoking weed when we started. She got busted on camera. We got to say it, it's there for the thing. Bronwyn Scarberry, one of our most popular episodes, probably one of the most emotional episodes there. Here, though, right next to, by the way, Jason Richardson from Bookkeep, like a really high-end accounting, and his headshot looks fancy. That is a distinguished gentleman, right? And then you have right above that, if we're looking at it, we have a veteran ending the stigma, Robert Kowalski. We have Bronwyn Scarberry, an educator who was forced out of her real job and then had to get a new job in the cannabis industry and is thriving, a professional media conglomerate in pro-cannabis media. Is me and you, Dustin, and terribly photoshopped public speaking and gas station worker for our Pardons and Petroleum episode, because Cannabis episode number 30, what number is that? 38. That is when you embraced. And I don't think we've had a chance to have two of us since then. So that's why I'm excited to see what you're going to do. That's when you embraced, and you can see it with the last few ones that you've done. You really have just embraced your creativity. But Pardons and Petroleum, is that your personal favorite?
I really do. I think it personally is. I think it's yeah, that's the one where I don't know, I had some of the most fun with. I was really worried about sending it to you the day I sent it. I was like, did I go too far? Did I really push it? And no, you were like, yes.
No, I want more. I want more silliness. I'm excited to see what you come up with in 2023. And here's some of the last shows before this most recent show. We had I think the last 4 or 5 thumbnails are on point. That whole top last 8, including our most recent one with On the Revel co-founder Lulu. Kush Cards is an amazing. Kush Cards that thumbnail could be used right now on social media to sell her product. Like, that's all in. You did a wonderful job putting it together. Of course, Andrew D'Angelo, a great guest, one of the OGs in legal cannabis. Our first 3-word, by the way, our first 3-word title, had to alliterate 3 words there. And he's just a very photogenic fellow into there. So you really got the thumbnail game going. We're excited to see what we're doing in 2023. But back in the early days, Dustin, there we were. We decided to get together. Oh my gosh, it's a whole different background. Look at you.
I forgot about the green.
Yeah, all right, are you ready for this? So here's what we're going to do. Turn up your audio. I'll try and turn up this audio as much as I can on the shared screen. We'll make sure let me get the volume up here. All right. So I'm going to turn my volume up on there, I think, and I'll do the best I can, but if I apologize, if it might be a little softer, if you're listening, you may need to kick this up while we share this part. So we are going back to our very first episode, and you can listen to it right now. It's on YouTube. Life in Leaf. Here, let's click on it. There, it's going to auto start. Ooh, let me stop there, right there. All right, I'm going to pause it now. I'm about to do a few pauses and starts. By the way, let's see, our first episode, February 4th, we had 30 views so far. This will make 31. Probably not because I'm on the same IP, but we have 30 views. I expect that to go up after we break this sucker down. You can watch some of my viewing habits, a lot of disc golf and Hot Ones eats on the right-hand side for my YouTube viewing. I can't change that. How about this here? Bam. Let's make that go big screen. All right, so here we go. I'm going to start this timer.
I forgot about the timer.
All right, I'm going to turn this down. All right, there we go. So we had the timer in the beginning. We're counting down to the show. I don't remember if we had an opening song. Here we go. Oh, everyone, it's getting ready to start. I do not know. I have not seen this in ever. 2. Oh, the countdown ends. We get on screen. Dustin Kava, great to see you. Welcome, everyone. Because Cannabis, presented by Wayward Media. My name is B.C. Wehman. With me, Dustin Kava. How you doing today, Dustin?
Doing amazing.
You are doing amazing. We got some closed captions going on there. I didn't realize that. That's nice. So let's take a few things down. Let's break down. We got the green background. So we've changed clearly. We have our black background now. We've settled on our branding colors, the black, the white, the purple, which I really love. We had the green, like brush paint kind of vibe to it, right? Like loose brush paint. We had a cursive font back then. So cursive font, Wayward Media, same logo for that. That has not changed. I'm goateed, no glasses.
Yeah, the goatee.
Had the goatee, no glasses. I had the similar background. You're in a whole different room, it appears. What's your first thoughts here as you open up this show? I'm on a different mic there. It's a whole different setup. Oof.
I really forgot about that pretty curtain that I had in the bedroom.
Got your radiator and curtain in the background. It's amazing. Anyone ever agreed to be on the show? All right. So let's talk. Let's listen to. Let's listen. Well, I don't think anyone. Obviously, only 30 people watching. Here we go.
Extremely excited.
I am excited to start our journey. We've known each other for a while, and I'm sure over the course of the show, we'll get to know each other better, rehash some of those fond memories, unfully intended. But we share and met through a common connection through your past employment.
This is time number 1 of 50,000. I've told
Ohio. Me looking for a device, a dry herb device to consume cannabis. In the moment, like a Harlequin romance novel right there in the floor.
I look like that shirt's too small.
And so after many years now, we find ourselves.
It was a little, I think, and I'll be honest with you, I'll break the fourth wall as we love to do here. I've been trying to redesign where I sit. So I don't like my setup now in my office that I have. At some point, you're probably going to see a new view because I've been playing with the angles and where I want to sit. Because you can tell I've got a new camera. I've updated my camera and lighting, but it's a similar viewpoint. This is t-shirt days before I went all collared. But it's the same background, the same Frisbees, though they've changed out, same kind of vibe to it. But I don't, it's not really feeling I want to switch up the thing. And part of what I found today is I was seated is I was down to, and if you're watching on video, you can see it, but on audio, you can't. My camera view was down to about my belly and I could see my shirt. I was like, oh, that's not a good look. We got to go like chest high. So I think we learned that you just got to go chest high on there.
Yes. Chest high.
Self saying, hey, we got the ability to chat and talk. Why not get together, put out a show that talks about, there's a lot of shows.
I feel like you look so different.
Talking about this product, talking about cannabis, trying to take advantage of the big boon that is this industry. So,
why do you look so different?
But I think a lot of it talks about the product itself.
I mean, you still have
fascinated sometimes, Dustin, with marketing, with ingenuity,
the hat. You still have the beard.
Current trends that are happening with getting to know people, right? Making that human connection.
Still me talking way too long and you looking like a hostage victim.
And so I think to have our two brains get together, we'll have guests sometimes join us. I'm excited to really get to know you, get to talk about this product. I
look like an angel. Yeah, no, I was feeling a little froggy earlier, but you know what? I'm ready. I'm into it. I'm excited. I'm feeling good now.
Oh, that's fantastic. So we are here.
I was like, oh, that's fantastic. I feel it was so. It was so, I don't know exactly where I was trying to go with that. It was so like, all right, well, that's fantastic. All right, well, here, let's do this. Let's do this, Dustin. Let's see if we can, let's see if we got any better. How about maybe did it get any better? I think let's find out. So let's do this. I wanted to go through and I want to revisit Taurus's. That's why we're doing to this. So we still have the green here. Let's see how we fared in week number 2. Oh, we still got the timer.
Yeah, okay.
Still have the timer countdown. What took us? I don't know when we got rid of the timer. That was a few episodes in. If you're listening to us, this is one of our recap episodes, recap and resolutions, because Cannabis episode 49. This was our second episode. Sports and Stoners.
Oh, back again. Guess who's back? Yes, we're back. Dustin Kava, B.C. Wehman, because cannabis is back. Hey, everybody. How you doing?
You know, I first noticed you are on
Friday,
the left. I am on the right. That's throwing me off.
That means it's Friday. So you know that means because cannabis is here to...
Okay, by the way, I just said that means about 7 times in about a 30-second time frame. Do you know what that means? That means double T-shirts. I don't know what we were doing there. You look like right now, you're like, oh my God, please let this show end right now. That's all I want for this show to end.
Regale you in our fun cannabis conversations. Talk a little bit about what's happening in the world of legalized marijuana. Your weed, your grass, your devil's lettuce. What do they call it, Dustin? What's the cool word? Like we say cannabis because it's official and proper. Nice to see you, bud. What's like the lingo that the kids say today? Fire? Like what's the cool hip word?
It depends. I mean, like the flower guys are losing out on the lingo the last couple years, but the oil guys are having all the fun. You know, So it's
look how excited you look. You look so happy.
It's making me cringe listening to it.
And there's just 1,000 different, not 1,000. There's many different consistencies and many different ways to go about it. So I think the oil guys have all the fun.
Yeah,
I still do.
Like I said, I think fire. I don't think anyone calls it like grass anymore. Like I think that's kind of a thing. I know there's companies.
Glasses are back, but this is where I started. I realized after the first one I couldn't see the screen. I think I watched the first one and I realized I couldn't see the screen, and I was like, oh no, like this is not good. I can't see what I'm trying to do. So Sports and Stoners were there. A couple of great episodes to start today. I think was it episode 3 that we had our first. Oh, okay. You know what? I'm being super.
You missed the 3rd week. Yeah, I know exactly.
It took 3 weeks. 3 weeks for me to bail on you. All right, so we had the timer still. So only 2 episodes in. Apparently, I had to bail on you. So I don't think, and this is really sad. This is Dustin's first time ever hosting solo. I've never watched the opening part of this ever in my entire life.
No, I don't want to see it. It's so bad.
No. Here we go. This is what people have been waiting to see. 50 minutes of us kind of regaling in our past times and reminiscing about recaps and resolutions. They want to see Dustin's first time hosting solo.
Welcome to Because Cannabis from Wayward Planet. I know you were all hoping to see BC today, but you get me instead. Your other host, Dustin Kava. We're gonna stumble kind of through this one.
And you definitely get more comfortable in the spot. In these other ones you've had to host. First one, you were unprepared.
Start by just saying, if you like, subscribe, rate us. It all helps us with the algorithm. And
breaking down myself.
I'm itching. I'm like,
got your nervous ticks going. We switched up the background here. We went with a little bit different background. We haven't found.
We were trying.
Joining us in today, we're going to talk cannabis and crypto. One of the 2 terms which don't seem to go hand in hand right now. But we're gonna kind of wade through this and see what's going on in the industry. And with me is guest Daniel.
I think I need more solo Dustin. That's what I realized.
Out of Michigan. I do want to give a quick disclaimer. Dan is my brother.
Oh, disclaimers.
You go to
here's some Dan there.
Massachusetts, for instance, and order a certain strain. Maybe one.
I feel like we need to have an episode where I get to talk to Dan. I never really got to have a good in-depth conversation with Dan from there. So
I don't think anybody. I mean, it's amazing, but that man has been 3 years, 4 years ahead in thought of everything that happens in the industry. He is consistently able to call out where the industry is going, why it's going that way, and what are the possible ways to navigate it. He is something else. If anybody gets a chance to hit him up on LinkedIn or something, he is just a wealth of information.
And what's that company again?
Yeah, he owns Lemur Genomics, and then you can find him on LinkedIn at, I believe, Dan Trevianti is how, where to get him over there. But fucking awesome, man. Everything he's been breeding for decades, and it's just his perception of where the inefficiencies are at in the industry, why, just the whys in a lot of different tiers. He's just something else, man. I always learn something, or I'm forced to kind of look into something that he mentions just briefly as if it's just casual shit. And it's like, I've been fucking in the industry for 15 years and I've never heard of that. Now I'm like forced to reshift an entire paradigm of thinking, and he forces me to evolve in a lot of ways and has for a lot of years. So he's awesome. And that's my brother too, by the way. So
full disclaimers are out there. I think that's awesome. I think it's awesome. We were able to do that, but it took us until episode number 7, right? Episode number 7. Am I getting that right there? Until we finally decided that we were going to have a guest that we didn't know, right? So we had Life and Leaf, Sports and Stoners, Crypto and Cannabis with Dan, Stoners and Sweets. We brought Gibby on for episode number 5 there, Buds and Burrow, names and numbers. A lot of me and you, a lot of some people we know. And then we went, we got to have someone. And we booked the show with someone we had never met, Reverend Kelly Addison, who turned out to be super awesome, by the way. Let's see how that show started out. Let's see if we have.
God, I love her so much. She is such a hip lady. She is so hip. I still watch her shows today. She has KGL TV.
She goes live every Friday morning, I think, with some stuff on there as well. We're here, by the way, episode 7, fully in on our music. We've obviously discovered our theme and our whatnot. I don't know. That started somewhere like 4 or 5, somewhere in that area. Let's see how we start talking to a stranger. Episode number 7, Because Cannabis. Reverend Kelly Addison, right out of Canada. She joined us on our 420 show. Looking forward to that this year. We got to do it again. 4 hours and 20 minutes of so longer intros. Now we only had the 30 seconds. Now we go like 45. Here we go. We're popping on screen. Oh, Dustin. Oh, me.
No, it is Friday morning here, East Coast time, wherever you guys are at right now, Friday morning. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining Because Cannabis.
You got the white collared shirt on, Dustin. There you go.
That box, whatever other side of the screen you are checking out. Thank you, everyone, for joining the show. It's Friday. That means
I look like a mechanic.
I am wearing the exact same shirt.
To subscribe to Wayward Media. You're watching right now. Click that button on Wayward Media. Help us spread.
Wow, the goatee was coming in thick back then. Thick back goatee.
Kind of had like a Walter fucking
a little bit of a Walter White vibe there, right? Yeah, with the thicker kind of goatee, the red goatee. A little clean shaven. Wow, look at that.
Wasn't he a teacher too?
Yeah. As well as Dustin got the audio working for the show now. We are a podcast audio only.
You look like a car mechanic right now. I don't know why.
I just said that. Yeah, I do.
That's what I also learned. I wasn't even listening to you. I was listening to me.
But they want to just hear you deep inside their ear holes. Check us out audio-wise. iTunes, Spotify, Google Play. The new shows, they're about a week behind our live show. So if you want to see the new hotness, join us Friday.
I think we're going to find out here in a second. I think Kelly, I think we bust her.
What do you think, Dustin? Do you have a face for radio or a face for video?
I don't know. I think if you watch the video, you could probably watch my beard grow. It grows so fast.
Maybe we have seen. I feel like my facial hair has shifted heavily.
I am. I think the video. I think you need to see me smile to know whether.
Let her.
Let's see here. Let's bring her in. So we're going to bring in Kelly Addison, guest episode number 7. Let's see how we did it.
And today's guest, Reverend Kelly Addison, I think is someone who's going to help us on that path. I tell you about her, and I probably could do a decent job. I'm strong. But how about we just bring her in?
What was that? That was so
about herself. Look, there she is. Look at that big smiling face. She's coming to us.
I'll tell you about her, but I can't tell you about her because I don't know enough. I wasn't doing research.
From Canada, Reverend Kelly Addison, welcome to the show. How are you doing this morning?
Hi, you guys. Yeah, I'm in a different country.
I don't want to wave at her again.
Yes, I know. She's so like
Canada. So hi down there. Hi.
Reverend Kelly Addison. That's episode number 7. That was out there on not about 9 months ago. That one went out March 25th is when that show aired. So then after that, we did our 4 hour. We had a few different guests. Episode 8 was my first solo episode. Episode number 8, Alan Katz, jointweddings.com, jointvows.com. A couple of great shows. I actually was talking with messaging Kim from Mend with Dignity the other day.
He's got a lot of new
it.
things going on right now.
I saw that. That was awesome. We did our 420 special. That was a bizarre one. I don't know. Only after 8 episodes, I decided we had to do 4 straight hours, Dustin. But we did it. We did 4 hours and 20 straight minutes, man. Like that of all the shit, that's pretty incredible.
You recorded exactly 50% more content in that one episode than all the shows combined. It was nice. It was definitely, when you first mentioned to me, I'm not going to lie, I was nervous. I was really, really nervous. But everybody who dropped in was awesome. It was awesome. It turned out to be a really, really fun, off the cuff episode. And it was a blast.
Yeah, it was super fun, and we had some great times after that. A lot of great shows at YouTube Because Cannabis. We had a lot of great guests. Haven't thus far had a ton of repeat guests, though. I'm sure as we move into 2023, I'm looking forward to revisiting with some of the past guests that we've had on the show. It's been a great, I guess, first year. I mean, it's almost our 1 year anniversary. We have a couple more episodes till we hit that. So this is kind of, by proxy, our kind of year celebration. It's both the start of 2023. We're going to switch to Wednesdays at 4:20 for our YouTube shows. Still Monday at 4:20 for the audio. Still about 2 weeks behind from the YouTube show. We want to give those YouTube people watching on YouTube who have subscribed the first chance to get the content, to get the interviews. But we put it on audio about 2 weeks later for you. So it is kind of our year anniversary, man. It's been a crazy time, so right?
Awesome.
Every week. We have done this, got together, whether it's mostly you and I, a lot of great guests, so many interviews we have booked and ready to go for 2023. We ended 2022 strong with a heavy hitter, a middle of the lineup, just tons of great guests from Kush Cards, from On the Revel, Andrew D'Angelo, obviously, into there, and some other, CEOs who have started their companies up. We got some really patient advocate stuff to kick off January 2023. So it's been a crazy year, man. Did you really think when we kicked off with Life and Leaf that we'd be sitting here basically 1 year later, 1 year straight, every week of shows? Did you think we'd pull it off?
You know what? No. And it's not. Okay, how about this? It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with the show. It just, my heart was broke after selling the store. And my heart, I loved everything about that company. I've been in thought process with inhalables for literally even longer before the LLC even started. And it was just this over a decade long culmination of things ending and beginning at the same time that I genuinely did not know how and what was going to happen, what this year was going to look like. And I've been truly blessed. This entire year has been a blessing. The guests that we have booked are a blessing. This whole thing happening in the way it has just been an absolute enormous blessing. And I just cannot be grateful for it. It's truly awesome. It's instilling some life back into me, or just continuing to instill life in me. And I'm really, really happy to be here. And I'm really happy to be doing this with you above all. I mean, honestly, I couldn't imagine another co-host or another person on the show. And I couldn't imagine this being any other way. And I am so stoked about it. It really has been a blast.
It has been good. It's been good. It's been fun. I didn't know what we would be and how we would turn out. I didn't know we'd have as many guests as we did. I really didn't think we'd get to, I would say, the quality of guests we did and as fast as we did. It took a long time on Wayward Planet even to get traction. And even then it felt like it was so many just having to just constantly fish for guests. And we've gotten to the point, and I know we're still low on subscribers, but we're going to hit 100. We're going to hit 100 this month with your help. Share the word right now. Get us to 100 subscribers. It'll be part of our giveaway. We already got one planned at Wayward Media giveaway, but we're doing a 100 subscriber giveaway anyway. Hint, hint. So help get us to subscribers, 100 subscribers. We're going to have a giveaway to celebrate that Wayward Media giveaway. All the details coming soon. We're going to have an Ask Me Anything with Dustin Kava. That should get us to 100 subscribers coming up January 27th. So there's lots of opportunities to interact with the show. That's part of what we're kicking off in 2023. I think more opportunities to interact with the show, more opportunities to promote the brand, more opportunities to give you great content and guests that we're getting. So I'm excited. I'm excited to where we are. I'm excited to what we have going on. I'm excited if you've made it all 64 minutes of this episode of us just kind of getting to hang back out. It's been a while since we had a hang. This was definitely a hang episode, not really earth-shattering content, but just fun to catch up with you, fun to reminisce on where we've gotten, Dustin, and as we basically kick back into work mode because we got a lot of great content and guests coming up. So this episode 49, Recaps and Resolutions, it was fun. It was fun to sit here, do this, sit here and have those kind of just moments, to kind of sit here and catch back up. So I'm looking forward to where we're at. Dustin, we'll see you every Wednesday now. Every Wednesday. Don't forget, subscribe to YouTube channel so you can check us out every Wednesday, 4:20 p.m. for the video. Mondays, 4:20 p.m. for the audio stuff. You ready for this? You ready?
I am.
Ready?
And thank you. Thank you to everyone who's listened for racking up those audio stats on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on all the others. And just thank you for everything.